Hello, welcome to the Recklessly Skeptical podcast. This is Joe.
And I'm Josh.
I'm Matt.
You can find us on
YouTube. Only
YouTube, so we are done with Spreaker then.
Well, we're taking a break till we figure out what we decide to do. It's kind of like we're doing this as a hobby, but Spreaker wants us to pay them money. We're not making any money from this, so why would we pay money to entertain people when we can just do it for free on YouTube?
I agree. Fuck Spreaker. Okay, and then you can find us on our YouTube channels. Josh's
ZZZ Giants Awake.
And Matt and mine are The Evil Atheist. And then you can also find us on Facebook on the group page, The Evil Atheist. The group page.
an atheist is plural.
Yeah, join us there. All three of us hang out there. We're willing to talk about anything you guys want to talk about as long as it's not there to troll us. If you're there to troll us, then we'll probably just laugh at you and ignore you.
And we'll probably keep you on there and just keep laughing. And
Yeah, we had a guy who was like this real pro-Confederate thing, and it was funny for a little while.
yeah. But yeah, so what are the stories?
So for the second half, we're going to start by covering there was a story that came off of Twitter, actually. B.O.B., the rapper who's rapped with Eminem, fairly successful, believes the Earth is flat.
And he's not the only one, okay? I just want to point this out. Before the story even came out, some model somewhere or something had recently said the Earth was flat, and I went on to the article, and then I commented, wow, she's pretty dumb. And then she had there was a bunch of people who were defending her and was like, actually, there's just enough evidence as there is for the Earth to be round as it is to be flat. And I'm like, what? And people believe this shit.
Well, we'll get into the theory after we kick off with what B.O.B. actually said. So this all started off on January 24th at 5:05 p.m., being very specific. He posted a picture with him with a large background, and it said the cities are in the background approximately 16 miles apart. Where is the curve? Please explain this. And then he posted at 5:40 a picture of NASA, an astronaut on what looks like to be the north, like a northern background where he's standing on an iceberg, and it said NASA, edge of the world gatekeepers for over 50 years. So he is full-blown conspiracy believing that NASA is part of a conspiracy to not let us see the edge of the world, and that they're a government cover-up, and so forth. Neil deGrasse Tyson responded, but let's talk about the flat Earth. I don't want to call it a theory because it's not a theory.
It's a hypothesis.
It's not even a hypothesis. You have to have something that you can test, or that is testable. And
well, we can test it, and then we can prove that it's wrong.
yeah, but once you knock all the legs out of it, how can you still call it a hypothesis?
Yeah, I agree.
But let's talk about it.
Do we call it a false claim, or what do we call it?
It's a
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what you call a failed I mean, I guess you would call it a failed hypothesis.
Oh, okay.
Because what you do is you set up the experiments, or you set up an idea, and then you say, here's how you can prove it, and then you test you test it, and then if it comes back as it fails, it would be a failed hypothesis, and then you would move on from there and gather more data to try and come up with the correct hypothesis that works.
And I just want to point out that B.O.B. argued that climate change is false back in 2012. So this guy's just a fucking jackass.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you are willing to believe the Earth is flat and that scientists are lying about that when you can go out and essentially do experiments yourself. Actually, let's talk about that. Joe, you worked up in Alaska, right?
Yeah, I witnessed the globe Earth and stuff. So most of these guys think, the flat Earth, it spins or whatever, and the sun, but that's the thing. Oh, so the sun goes around the flat Earth then. So it goes on the other side.
I guess some of the I'm sure some of them believe that, yes.
Okay, so when I go into Alaska, shouldn't the same thing happen to me? Shouldn't the sun go away and then come back and go away?
I would think so, yeah.
All right, so when I went up there in the summertime and worked, and the sun was out constantly, I saw this. Like I said earlier before the podcast, there was a time the helicopter couldn't come and pick us up. And so I had to work 26 hours straight, and it was bright outside the whole freaking time. I witnessed it. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. Every day when I was up there, too, the sun would never go straight overhead. It always went around me and stuff. It was close to the horizon the whole time, then dip down and then come back up later on in the year. But, yeah, I've witnessed it. I've seen it. I know the Earth is a globe.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't get how you can be raised in the modern days and still believe, unless you're like really digging into conspiracy theories and you're like, I'm just going to take any conspiracy theory I can take because I fuck the government. Like, I don't trust them for anything. Whatever they're saying must be a lie. Yeah, conspiracy theories are weird that way. Like, it's fine to doubt what the government's saying. It's fine to be skeptical of what they're saying and what their intentions are. I'm right on board with that. But as soon as you start asserting things, like strange things, then that's where I start to question. It's go ahead, Matt. It looks like you have something.
This is a dumb fucking story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we need to talk about it. It's interesting, but it's fucking stupid. There's piles and mountains of evidence saying that the Earth is a globe. Yeah. I mean, we know the Earth is a globe. And all their arguments about it being a flat Earth, you know, the NASA defense budget, that NASA is part of the defense budget, the UN symbol, the Northern Stars, the flat horizon. These are the dumbest fucking arguments. And the fact that we have to talk about it kind of bugs the shit out of me.
Yeah. Shit, sorry.
It's just fucking stupid.
Yeah, but so let me kind of defend the idea of talking about it at least.
No, I think we should talk about it, but the fact that we need to is dumb.
Yeah, I mean, there's a decent percentage of Americans that believe that the Earth is flat. Like, and what's weird to me is B.O.B. like has the means of testing this. Like, he could easily test this and either prove himself right or wrong. He wouldn't have to rely on like fucking pictures of New York backgrounds. Like, one of them, he says, let me grab it. The New York City skyline is clearly visible from Harriman State Park, Bears Mountain, 60 miles away. If the Earth were a ball 25,000 miles in circumference, viewing from Bears Mountain, 1,283-foot summit, the Pythagorean theorem determining the distance of the horizon being 1.23 times the square of the root of the height, the New York City skyline should be invisible behind 170 feet of curved Earth.
See, and Neil deGrasse Tyson said, well, no, the land, the sky, because you can see the fucking skyline. He's all, but can you see the base? Can you see the bottom part of Manhattan? No. Why? Because the curvature of the Earth is blocking it.
Yeah, and here's Neil's response specifically. Earth's curve indeed blocks 150, not 170, meaning they got their math wrong. Surprise. Feet of Manhattan, but most of the buildings in Midtown are way taller than that. And so what I think is cool is that this does bring up the conflict between science and people who think that it's a conspiracy. I think that Neil deGrasse Tyson has been one of the biggest faces in science education, and big props to him, and I'm glad that he took on B.O.B. And like, when he finally finished on Twitter, what Neil said was, you don't have to be good at science and we can still enjoy your music. But B.O.B. can fly around the Earth. I mean, all it would take to disprove this, if the Earth was flat, wherever you thought it was flat, all you'd have to do is take a boat from, like, the tip of South America to the tip of South Africa, and it would be drastically different. Like, 4 times as long of a trip as what the conspiracy people are saying it should be.
Yeah.
And I just want to point out something else that Neil said responding to B.O.B. He said, there's a growing anti-intellectual strain in this country. It may be the beginning of the end of our informed democracy. And, I mean, this is something small, but when you look at all these other different just anti-science people, they're trying to push creationism in schools and all that. It's just sad how anti-science we've become.
Well, then after all of that went down on Twitter, B.O.B. came out with a rap called Flatline or something. It was really stupid. But Neil deGrasse Tyson went on the Nightly Show.
Yeah.
And in response and did his own little rap. And
he didn't rap. He just explained it. He didn't rap. which is unfortunate. I would have
Yeah.
loved to have seen Neil deGrasse Tyson rap.
But I mean, his response was just so incredible and so cool.
We'll have that on the Evil Atheist Facebook page for you guys to see. So come join us there and look at that. But yeah, I mean, it sucks that we're back talking about flat Earth when really we need to be talking about how we're going to resolve global warming. And it's not like, oh, is global warming a thing? We're way past that conversation. The scientists are done with that conversation. It's like, how do we best mediate the damage that we've caused, and how do we kind of try and get back on track? And it sucks that we're having to spend time talking about things that are very much earlier than that were discovered 500 years ago, or not even discovered. Like, it was discovered 500 before before Common Era, but like it became popularized 500 years ago. So it sucks. Oh well.
Yeah.
Yep. Go to fucking school.
Yeah. Or test it yourselves.
You know what's fucked up is the guy probably makes so much money and he can't afford to go to fucking college.
Well, he
You know what I mean? Go to college, dude. Get an education.
It's not that. I wasn't even saying that. He could test it simply. All you'd have to do is look for the northern star in the southern hemisphere. You would never find it. If there was a flat Earth, you would find it immediately.
Yeah. Well, one of his arguments was the still frame shot, and all the stars go in a circle.
Yeah, because lots of things are moving all at the same time.
Right.
It doesn't go in a perfect circle, and those time-lapse images are not what you should base astronomy off of. Like, astronomers don't go and say, oh, this time-lapsed image. They look at the stars and the patterns, and then they make predictions based on it, and it works if we're a globe. It doesn't work if we're a flat Earth.
I know one of his arguments too was like, oh, apparently we have all these satellites in space, but you can't ever see them.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh, I take it you meant no. You're not kidding me. That's
No, I'm
so
not kidding,
fucking
yeah.
stupid. Because you're talking about little teeny lights compared to big gases or big balls of gas that are burning that are larger than our sun.
And another argument about what he just said, when I go outside at night, on a clear fucking night, I see things in orbit.
Yeah.
I see them. You can see things in orbit. You know, traveling real slow. Sometimes you got to look real close, but you can see it. I have really good eyesight, but, you know, next time you're outside in the middle or at night, just look up for a little while, and you'll see a little bright light just going from one end.
Those
of
are
the
flying
sky.
saucers. That's a government cover-up.
It must be aliens. They don't want us to figure out the Earth is flat.
God, there's a conspiracy theory for everything, isn't there?
I want you guys to know that there are unicorns, there are dragons, and there are pixie fairies, but we can't see them. Want to know why?
Why?
They went on the other side of the Earth, on the other flat part of the Earth, in the land of derp.
God damn it. All right, let's move forward. So, do you have that story pulled up, Matt, for...
Sure do.
Awesome.
All right, so Ross Story is reporting it's Colorado School District pushes Christian purity training for 11-year-old girls to find future husbands. And I want to read a little bit from the article.
Were they stoned?
No, if they were stoned, they'd be cool. So parents in Colorado have complained that a school district used its email system to advertise a Christian event which uses Bible lessons to encourage girls as young as 11 to stay pure while looking for a husband. Colorado blogger Ann Landman first reported that the Western Colorado Atheist and Freethinkers had been contacted by parents, which I think is pretty cool, after Mesa Valley School District 51 sent out an email promotion for an event called Wake Up, Sleeping Beauty, Worship at His Feet.
Wait, where did they send? To the parents? Where
Yes.
did they send the email? Oh, right.
Yeah,
so
but
the
they
email
used-
was sent to the parents.
And they used a school email. So
Okay.
the flyer includes the silhouette of a girl's face with a Bible verse from Luke 7:38, and I want to read it. As she stood behind him at his feet weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears. Then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and poured perfume on them.
What?
Yeah.
God, I hate these stories. Like, I really do. Like, stories that religious people use to tell little girls. Essentially, like, I hate using the term brainwashing with religion, but that's really what it is. I mean, it's socializing to a degree that is damaging. It's saying, hey, women, if you don't stay pure and if you're not a virgin, no man's going to want you. No man's going to want to have anything to do with you. And that's such bullshit. And it's not like, oh, every man's going to settle for whatever. But what I'm saying is that these are artificial. Like, virginity is an artificial concept. I don't think that virginity is something that anything but humans think of. And the only reason that we do it is out of pride and out of what we think women from back in the Bronze Age when we used to think women as property. It's and that they have a value and they're intrinsically more valuable if they're a virgin. It's fucking
It's like
horseshit.
buying an unused car. Well, it's not used. It's not a used car. I think that's the way they see it. You know what I mean?
But that's stupid. Again, why?
Well,
why,
yeah, I mean, I agree. It's completely stupid.
It's fucking artificial and ego. It's an ego trip for the guys who think like that. Like, I don't know.
So the Wake Up Ministries is the one that is doing this, and they have a promotional video on their website, Wake Up Ministries, and the guy in charge or whatever warns girls about the gag reflex caused by kissing with your tongue. And you know what's funny about a lot of these ministers and bishops and all that? I swear, like, if you look at anti-gay classes, you know, where they turn you straight, or when young girls or boys sin by fucking or whatever, they gotta go repent to the priest or whatever. I mean, to me, when I look at all this, it's set up in some weird, sadistic, like, I don't know, perverted way that they want these younger girls or boys, you know, to tell them what they did that was sinful, and they're like getting their rocks off on it, you know?
Maybe
It's just-
a little. I think that does play a role in it. I think that actually religion has realized that if you can control someone's sexuality, you can control how they interact with others. Like in the Mormon Church, if you can control what women do and under what standards women, like, don't marry a man who doesn't go to church. Don't do this. So essentially, what you're doing is you're making men go to church against their will, if they're interested in the woman of that happens to be a Mormon. The whole date within the religion thing is to make sure that guys stay actively religious, because and with guys it's the same thing. Is, oh, you should wait until you're married. If you're married, then you'll have if you wait until marriage, you'll have a good relationship. If you look at pornography, it'll cause your relationship to go bad. There's slight slivers of truth to that. Like, people don't want to be insecure about what their significant other is doing or looking at or wanting. But to feed on that, it's disgusting. It's not true. Like, our human sexuality has been so fucked up for the past 2,000 or 3,000 years that we can't hardly tell what's natural or not anymore. So,
Sorry, I'm reading more of the article.
yeah,
I was
I'm
trying
waiting
to-
for Matt to respond. I've made my point. And Joe, I mean, in my mind, I'd rather not date a girl who's a virgin, honestly.
Well, yeah, I mean, someone. I've been with virgins and I've been with loose women, and I don't mean that like that came off bad.
Yeah.
I don't mean it like that. I've been with women who've been around. I've been with virgins. I've been, with more moderate, and my thing is to me none of that really matters. To me, what I look for is someone I can connect with.
Yeah,
And virgins, to me that just to me says young and stuff, and I cannot connect with younger women like I can older women, and I think
I want a woman who knows what she's doing.
yeah, and for me,
Yeah.
it's not even that I want a woman who knows what she's doing. Talking from a strictly sexual point, I want a woman who knows what she wants as much as I know what I want. sexually.
and exactly. And let me point out, when I was with virgins, I was a lot younger. But I don't know. My thing is that doesn't really make a point. I do think, kids shouldn't be having sex very early. They need to be educated on sex. They need, that's where I see it. But the whole purity thing and
Yeah, well, for me, it's essentially the church wants you to pledge your sexuality to them, and that's so artificial and so weird to me. Like, it just
It's perverted.
yeah,
like a purity ball.
yeah, those things are creepy. We should
do a story on that.
no,
in
we,
the
what we
next
should
segment.
do is on the Evil Atheist Facebook group page. We should just make a string of like the creepiest purity ball pictures we can find.
Yeah.
So, complaint from a parent. Parent complained, sent an email to the school district, and the communication specialist, Jenny Smith, responded with this. Having reviewed the flyer per your request, we do not find that the flyer promotes a religious organization or demeans a person or group on the basis of gender.
Now, who said that?
It's District 51 Communications Specialist Jenny Smith, and she works for the school district.
She was probably the one who sent the fucking thing out there.
Yeah, and another thing to think about is sex is in modern days is associated with guilt, so they tap into both those emotions, sexual desire and guilt. But how is that not like? I think that saying that someone's sexuality or prescribing some sexuality to people is essentially, in a weird sense, like religious. Like some people have some philosophies on how sex should be for them, and other people have different philosophies. So for, say, Joe, you have one type of sexual preference, and you're like, Josh, you need to do the same type of sexual preference, which you can't be part of a normal society. Like, that's fucked up, too.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing, is if we educate people about it, I think any sex can be okay as long as it's healthy.
Yeah, and that is a lot broader of a field than what I guarantee Purity Ball or this church is going to say. They're going to say, wait until you're married, save yourself with Jesus until you're married, and then you can give yourself to your man.
And then that's when you go, okay, well, why? What are the health factors against or for that?
You think they give a fuck about the science of it?
Yeah, you're right. They're Christians.
Like
They don't care about facts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that these groups that are super hyper aggressive towards young people's sexuality, like these are the same groups of people who keep sex ed to where you can't say the word condom in school.
Yeah.
Like, and I talked to somebody who was told that if they said, or was told by, and actually it was my teacher or my law professor, who said that you cannot say the word condom in a high school in Utah. If you say the word condom in a high school as a sex ed teacher in Utah, you're liable to get fired and sued.
See, and I remember the last year that they taught like real sex education, and I was in middle school, and they actually handed out condoms.
Yeah, unfortunately, not the case.
But they
anymore.
taught us so much about STDs. They taught us about birth control. They taught us about male and female reproduction organs. It was a really good class. They even showed us pictures of STDs, which I think worked quite to deter. It was like, holy shit, I'm wearing a condom.
Yeah, well,
But it was a good idea. I mean, it made us more knowledgeable about
Yes.
it. And then we felt safe because you know what? Younger people are going to experience and experiment with sexual activity, most young people, because it's in our nature. That's how we procreate. That's how we breed and, pass our genes along. They're going to do it no matter what. So if you teach fucking abstinence, it's stupid because they're going to do it anyway and they're going to be dumb about it.
And there's evidence on our side. When you look at states that have sex education, they have lower teen pregnancy and lower STDs. When you look at states that have abstinence only, they have higher teen pregnancy and higher STDs. It's just basic fucking facts.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like saying, okay, everybody eventually is going to steal a car and drive away, So we need to teach people how to drive then and stuff. But, that's...
Yeah. For me, I think that our emphasis is completely in the wrong place. And I honestly, I think that even emphasizing, most people are going to have sex prior to marriage. Ask the Palin family. Regardless of what education you're teaching them. I mean, it's just biology is stronger than indoctrination, unfortunately.
Yeah. Agreed.
And so to associate guilt with premarital sex, or to say that you need to completely leave the idea of using contraceptives and protection off the table in a sex education class in a high school where people are becoming young adults, and that's where most people have their first sexual experiences, in that high school age range.
Yep.
I don't get why. I do, because the religious people want to still have their power in that corner of the place.
And I don't know, maybe the people who set this up thought they were doing something.
They do. They think they're doing something good because they're telling children to not have sex. It's not like this overt thing that most people in religion buy into.
Yeah.
Like, if people knew the damage psychologically that they were dealing to themselves on overtly, they wouldn't. This would not be even a question anymore. We'd have comprehensive sex education in every high school.
Yeah.
But it's sad because a lot of it is willful ignorance. You know, you can present them with evidence that yes, you are doing harm this way, and they deny it. You know, and it's just sad.
I just you put the evidence out there, and they just totally look past it. I don't get it. Does it say somewhere in the Bible not to teach sex education? I don't understand.
Don't spill your seed on the ground, or else you get killed by God.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And actually, there are a few verses in there, and like one of them is it's better or it's worse to spill your seed on the ground than in the belly of a whore. The Bible's
but
fucked up on sexuality,
that sounds
too.
like sex education right there. Does it say in the Bible anywhere, "Thou shalt not go to your local school and teach children about sex"?
No, it's about condoms and stuff like that too. Like, I hate the subject, and really we need to have someone who there are a couple of people who do sex ed, and maybe we should talk to them more and have someone on as a guest.
Yeah.
Because I think there's experience there. That's another beer being opened by Matt.
I had to let you guys hear the sound of beer.
Beer. All right.
Beer is good.
How much time do we have left, Josh?
2 minutes.
2 minutes? Well, I think we should just talk about Bernie for another 2 minutes.
Sure. Bernie's for comprehensive sex education.
Smart
he
guy.
is. That's true. He is.
Smart guy.
Well, you know what? Bernie was saying something the other day in one of his rallies, and he was like, you know what? I'm not going to lie. I'm different from most politicians. I believe in logic and reason and facts. And it sounded very secular, very and oh man, the kids and the people and everyone who was there were just like, whoa!
Yeah, and actually there was an article put out this week, and he put out a statement this week. He was asked directly, do you believe in God? And there's some things that I dislike about it, but with only a minute and a half left, I won't get into that. But he essentially said that, I believe everybody believes in God in their own way, and I believe that there's... let me find the quote. Why don't you guys talk while I find that quote?
Well, hopefully hopefully it sounds very deist, if anything.
Oh, it does.
And maybe, you know what? That's another thing. I think if he does come out and say he's an atheist, he will not win, and he probably knows that, and that's probably why he won't say anything.
If he is,
so he's taking a deist standpoint.
Yes. If he is an atheist, which I think he is, he is like you said, Joe. He is taking that stance because he will not get elected.
He will not get elected if he comes. And you know what? Maybe he'll do like what our mayor did here in Salt Lake.
Yeah, our mayor, once she was elected and came out, she's like, I'm a lesbian.
Yeah, so hopefully.
So here's the quote.
So hopefully he gets elected. I'm an atheist, bitch.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
Here's the quote with 30 seconds left. I think everyone believes in God in their own ways. To me, it means that all of us are connected, all of life is connected, and that we are all tied together. So, and he's also talked about, Sanders also said that he was, quote unquote, not actively involved with a religious or with organized religion. So
that sounds like a very secular statement to me, actually. That doesn't even sound really deist.
Atheist / deist. It could go either way, but I guess we'll
Probably never find out.
We'll
Unless
maybe
he gets-
find out, or who knows.
All
All right,
right.
thanks, guys.
Peace.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening to Recklessly Skeptical. Find us on Spreaker, YouTube at ZZZ Giant Awake, The Evil Atheist. Peace.